Everything you think you know about Noah's Ark is a lie. Or perhaps it's just not the whole truth. We are told a simple story in our childhood. Humanity became wicked, so God sent a flood to start over. A story of sin and redemption. But this is a nursery tale designed to hide a far more terrifying, far more uncomfortable truth. A truth hidden in plain sight, in one of the most overlooked and cryptic passages of the entire Bible. A secret buried in the book of Genesis, just before the rains began to fall. The real reason for the flood wasn't just about human sin. It was about a genetic contamination, an unholy union that threatened to erase humanity itself. To find this truth, we must travel back before the ark, before the flood, to a world that was young, a world teeming with a new creation, mankind, the daughters of man, the Bible calls them. Beautiful, captivating, the pinnacle of God's physical creation. They lived under a sky that had never known rain, a world that was for a fleeting moment perfect. But they were not alone. They were being watched. Genesis chapter 6. It begins with a chilling statement. The sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive, and they took as their wives any they chose. Sons of God. Who were they? Theologians have debated this for millennia. Some argue they were merely kings, powerful rulers of the ancient world. Others suggest they were the righteous descendants of Adam's son Seth. These are safe explanations, tidy. They keep the mystery locked in a box, but the oldest, most primal interpretation, the one that the ancient world trembled at, is far more direct. The sons of God were not men at all. They were angels, watchers, beings of light and fire who were commanded only to observe, but who were consumed by an earthly desire. They broke their one sacred command. They abandoned their heavenly post, and they descended. Imagine that moment. Beings of pure spirit, cloaking themselves in physical form, stepping into our world, driven by a lust for that which they could never be. And from this forbidden union, something new was born. Something that was neither human nor angelic. Something monstrous. The Bible gives them a name, the Nephilim. The word itself is debated, but its most common translation from Hebrew is the fallen ones. Genesis 6 verse 4 gives us the only official description. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went into the daughters of man, who bore children to them. They were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. Mighty men, men of renown. Does that sound familiar? Every ancient culture has myths of demigods, Hercules, Gilgamesh, powerful beings born from a god and a mortal. What if these weren't myths? What if they were the faded memories of the Nephilim? The Bible is strangely silent after this verse. It moves on. It's almost as if the authors were too afraid to elaborate. But thankfully, the story doesn't end there. There is another text, an ancient book, so controversial it was ultimately excluded from the biblical canon, but which was widely read and respected in the time of Jesus and his apostles, the book of Enoch, and it tells us everything. Enoch was the great-grandfather of Noah. The Bible says he walked with God, and then he was no more. Enoch's book claims he was taken to heaven and shown the cosmic secrets. He was shown the truth of these fallen angels. He even gives us their names, their leader, Semyaza, and another, Azazel. According to Enoch, these fallen angels did not just commit the sin of lust, they committed the sin of knowledge. They taught humanity the secrets of heaven. Azazel taught men how to forge swords, shields, and the instruments of war. They taught women the art of seduction with cosmetics and jewelry. They revealed the secrets of sorcery, of astrology, of reading the stars. They unlocked a Pandora's box of forbidden knowledge that humanity was not ready for. The world descended into chaos, but the greatest horror was yet to come. Their children, the Nephilim. The book of Enoch describes them as giants, true giants, hundreds of feet tall. Their appetite was as immense as their stature. They consumed all the food of mankind. When the food ran out, they began to consume the birds, the beasts, and then they began to consume each other. And finally, they turned on mankind. This was the world before the flood. A world not just of sin, but of terror. A world where humanity was no longer at the top of the food chain. A world where the very genetic code of life, God's sacred design, had been hijacked. The bloodline of Adam was being corrupted, mixed with this angelic, unholy seed. The flood was not a punishment. It was an act of mercy. It was surgery, a genetic cleansing. God looked down and saw that the wickedness of man was great, and that his creation was utterly corrupted. The text says he regretted that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him to his heart. Why was Noah chosen? The Bible describes him as a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time. The original Hebrew for blameless can also mean perfect in his generations, or genetically pure. Noah and his family were perhaps the last pure-blooded humans left on earth. The ark wasn't just a boat to save animals. It was a genetic lifeboat, a vessel to preserve the pure essence of humanity and life itself, while God washed the world clean of the angelic virus and their monstrous offspring. The waters rose, not just to drown sinners, but to drown giants. The story seems to end there. A clean slate, a new beginning. But the Bible loves to leave a breadcrumb, a final chilling mystery. Remember what Genesis 6:4 said. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward. Afterward. How? Were some of the giant bloodlines sealed away, only to re-emerge? When the Israelites entered the promised land, who did they find? The Enochim, a race of giants. Who was Goliath, the colossal champion defeated by a young David? Was he a late echo of this ancient sin? The questions never truly end. Was this a one-time event, or is there a cosmic struggle that continues to this day? Are the ancient tales of titans and the modern stories of alien abduction just different cultural interpretations of the same terrifying truth? The truth that we are not alone, and that sometimes the visitors from the sky do not come in peace. The story of the Nephilim is a warning about forbidden knowledge, unchecked desire, and the fragile line between the sacred and the profane. It's the story hidden between the lines, the story they don't want you to think too much about. Now, you know the whole truth. There are more secrets buried within these ancient texts. If you are ready to uncover them, subscribe to our channel and activate the bell for notifications. What do you believe about the Nephilim? Let us know in the comments below.